which it's measurable. So the entire inequality debate is a silly debate, and the entire way in which they measure inequality is a silly way of measuring because of things like that. All right, so capitalism is about the pursuit of self-interest. Why do we hate bankers? Because they pursue self-interest in a more obvious way than anybody else. Why do you go to work for a bank? Why does a bank exist? To make money. I can't even hide behind a pretty product like this. I can't say, oh, but look what I produced. I produced a pretty iPhone. Now, bankers make the iPhone possible, but that's an abstraction. That's many levels removed. So they can't defend themselves by hiding behind a product. Markets are about self-interest. And yet, what do we know about self-interest? Morally, ethically. What have we been taught since we were this big? And I know this is true because we're in Poland, which is Catholic. What were you taught about self-interest from this age? Is self-interest good, noble, virtuous? Did your mother tell you, always think about yourself first?
Just the opposite. We were told so. But to remember the others, what you are in the first place.
Yeah, my mother never told me I was in the first place. Not morally. But when she taught me morality, she taught me, now, granted, my mother's Jewish, but I think there's similarities between Jewish mothers and Catholic mothers. They both figured out how to use guilt effectively. We'll get to guilt in a minute. No, I was taught, and I'm sure you were taught, whether it's explicitly or subliminally, if you want to be a good person, if you want to be moral, if you want to be a saint, you have to think of other people first. You have to think of yourself last. What is the essence of virtue in the culture we live in? It's selflessness. It's sacrifice. Sacrifice is noble. Sacrifice is good. We don't have any happy saints. To be a saint, you have to have suffered. You have to have arrows sticking out of you, right? Or be on a cross. The essence of our moral code is selflessness, self-sacrifice. Thinking of others, giving, sharing, contributing. That's good. Making money? Yuck. You're being selfish. That's what morality tells us. I don't know any statues or any roads named after successful capitalists. Lots of roads named after sacrifices. People who did it for the common good, for the public interest, for other people. That's what we name roads are. That's what we build sculptures for. Actually, they're great examples. Those of you who can't see, about Moses on my left and the Pietà on my right. So, let's take an example. Take Bill Gates. Everybody know who Bill Gates is? Microsoft, right? Bill Gates built Microsoft. And in the process of building Microsoft, he made for himself $70 billion. That's 70 billion with a B dollars. Richest man in the world. How much moral credit does he get for building Microsoft? I mean, morality, not business. Everybody wants to be like him. You know, great businessman and everything. But moral, right? Ethical credit for building Microsoft. How much moral credit does he get? None. Or some negative. Because how dare he make $70 billion? How many people did Bill Gates help when he made Microsoft? How many lives did he change? Yeah, probably billions of lives. Bill Gates changed the world in profound, deep, meaningful ways. He changed the world. He made the world a better place for most of us to live. Most of humanity, not just most of us in this room. There's almost nobody on the planet that is not better off, marginally, because of Bill Gates. Let me ask you again, how much moral credit does he get for that? None. Zero. Negative. We liked right? We liked it when the Justice Department in the United States went after him, knocked him down a little bit. The greedy bastard who made $70 billion for himself. When does Bill Gates become a good guy? Because now we like him. From a moral perspective. When he leaves Microsoft, starts a foundation, and gives his money away. And he's giving his money away. Why do we like that? Because he's not making any money for himself. How many people is he going to affect by giving his money away?
Millions.
Maybe tens of thousands, maybe hundreds, maybe even millions. But less than in Microsoft. A lot less than in Microsoft. But here he gets moral credit. Why does he get moral credit for this? Because he's not being self-interested. Because it looks like he's just giving it away. Now, we don't give him a lot of moral credit for this. Let's not exaggerate, right? He's still not a saint. We're not going to name roads after him. We're not going to create any sculptures for Bill Gates anytime soon. Why? Why not? He's giving his money away. He's helping people. He's not benefiting himself. So why won't we consider him a moral giant? Two reasons. He's still got a lot of money. He's still rich. And the second reason is he's having fun giving it away. It looks like he's actually enjoying himself. So we're suspicious that maybe he's being self-interested, even when he gives his money away. Now notice that Bill Gates knows this. So when he gives his money away, he's chosen as his causes those causes that are most removed from his life as possible. So he lives in Seattle, but his philanthropy is not in Seattle. That would be selfish. His philanthropy is in Africa, as far away from Seattle as he could get. There are lots of people in need in Seattle that he could help in Seattle, but then he'd be accused of being selfish. So he has to go somewhere where he has no interest. Because our moral code says that to be virtuous, to be good, to be moral, you have to be selfless. You have to show sacrifice. You have to do stuff that you're not going to benefit from. If you benefit from it, it doesn't count morally. Now, so what would Bill Gates have to do to be commemorated in a sculpture? He'd have to give all his money away. He'd have to move into a tent. And if he could bleed a little bit, show a little bit of suffering, then we would make boulevards after him. So this is the moral code we live in today. It's a moral code that dominates the West. It's a moral code that says building, creating, making stuff, that's selfish, who cares? Giving it away, that's good. Sharing, that's good. We teach our kids. You know, your kid, I don't know how many of you have kids, but your kid is playing in the sandbox, right? And some strange kid comes up and says, I want to share with your trucks. I want to play with your trucks. And what do we as parents say? You got to share. Johnny, you got to share. Right? Don't trade. God forbid you should actually get something in return. No, you just got to give. You just got to share. That's socialism. We're training our little kids to be little socialists, and then we're surprised that when they grow up, they vote socialist. Right? Next time, if you have kids, ask them to trade. Johnny wants to play with your truck. What does he have that you can play with? Right? Win-win. Just like Apple doesn't give these away, and you don't give your money away. We trade as adults. So, in my view, as long as this moral code exists, as long as we believe that the essence of morality, that the essence of goodness is sacrifice, selflessness, the essence of nobility is giving and sharing, capitalism is dead. Capitalism doesn't have a chance. And every time we try it a little bit and we get a little rich, and then we start thinking not just about money, not just about our quality of life, but we start looking about what's good, we reject it. We turn our backs to it. Rich societies can afford to be moral societies. And when you can afford to be moral, you turn your back on capitalism. You turn your back on the system of self-interest, because that's what it is. We We were taught self-interest is bad. Our philosophers teach us. Since Immanuel Kant, every philosopher has said self-interest is evil. Our preachers teach that. All of the religions teach that self-interest is bad. And our mothers teach it. And our teachers teach it. Now, no mother means it, right? She doesn't actually mean think of yourself last. She wants you to be successful, and that was the point you were making, right? She wants you to be successful. But morality demands that you tell you, think of yourself last, think of others first, be selfless. This is a moral code consistent with the left. It's not consistent with freedom. It's not consistent with capitalism. And it cannot survive. Capitalism cannot survive. People do not vote their pocketbook. They don't vote what will make them money. People vote what will make them feel good. People vote justice. This is why Piketty and the whole inequality debate is framed in terms of justice. Not in terms of economics, but in terms of morality. People want to believe that they are good people, that they are just people, that they are virtuous people. So for example, in the United States, right, in California where I live, there was a ballot initiative that everybody voted on. And the ballot initiative said, we're going to raise taxes on rich Californians by 30%. So from 10% to 13.3%. Right? This is on top of the federal taxes. This is just state taxes. So a big increase in taxes for the rich. How do you think rich people voted? They voted for it. They voted for it. Why? Because they wanted to be good. They felt that it was necessary to penalize themselves in the name of morality. And they were told, oh, if you don't give us the extra tax money, we're going to have to shut down some schools, we're not going to have to pay for welfare, right? So, rich people vote for their own taxes to go up because they feel guilty for making the money. Because what happens when you live your life being self-interested, but you're taught that morality is really being, I don't know, Mother Teresa? But you don't want to be Mother Teresa. Who the hell wants to be Mother Teresa? Nobody wants to be Mother Teresa. So we all live our lives, but we know that morality demands that we do something else. What is the emotion that conflict creates? Guilt. And guilt is an incredible, powerful tool to control people. This is what Jewish and Catholic mothers discovered a long, long time ago. And what statists, what rulers, what authoritarians have discovered a long, long time ago. You control people by using guilt against them. So rich people in the United States vote against their interests all the time because they feel guilty. They're told, you see over there, they're poor people, and they need stuff. You have money, it's your moral responsibility to give it to them. But you're too greedy, you're too selfish, you're not doing it voluntarily, so we are here from the government, and we're here to help you be a better person. You're not giving them money voluntarily, so we're going to raise your taxes. Do you agree with that? Yes, 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 please. Let me feel good about myself by raising my taxes. And it works. Obama, who ran for president last election, on the promise to raise taxes on the rich, how did the rich vote? 8 out of 10 of the richest counties in the United States voted for Obama. Right? They voted to raise their own taxes. But that's okay, it made them feel good. Because now they were taking care of those people they're supposed to take care of, and they'd be neglected. So that's one way in which the welfare state, the redistribution state, is established because of morality, not because of politics, not because of economics. What about all the regulations, right? A big part of the state is regulation. Why don't we regulate business? Well, what are we being taught about self-interested people? What are we told that self-interested people will do? Steal, lie, and cheat. Anything. They will do anything. They'll exploit you. They'll take advantage of you. They are bad, bad people. Again, we've been taught this from when we were this big. Don't be selfish, because selfishness means lying, stealing, cheating, and exploiting. That's what the alternative we've got in morality. We've got, you can be selfless, or you can be a bastard. Right? Those are the only two alternatives we have. Right? And none of us want to be selfless, so we're a little bit bastards, and then we feel guilty about it. But if selfish people are lying, stealing, and cheating, and we know that CEOs and bankers and business people are selfish, then what must they be? Just logically. They must all be potential lying, stealing, and cheaters. So we need to control them. We need to regulate them. We need to make sure that they behave themselves. Preemptive. Right? So in the United States, you walk into an elevator, and there's a little diploma on the wall that says this elevator has been inspected by a government bureaucrat and it won't fall and kill you. It doesn't literally say that, but that's the implication, right? Because we know that if we left it up to greedy businessmen, we left it up to greedy companies that make elevators, they would make elevators that kill you. Because the best way to make money under capitalism is to kill your customer. You laugh, but this is the assumption. Why do we have food inspectors? Because if not for food inspectors, who are doing it, by the way, for the public interest, they're not selfish. They're doing it, they're government employees, so they're doing it for the public, you know, for public good, and they have no interests here. Right? If not for these food inspectors from the government, McDonald's would poison us, right? Those Polish sausages would be rotten, right? That's the assumption. Whether we think it's funny or not, it's the reality. We have bought into it as a culture. We think businessmen are inherently corrupt and we need to preempt them. We need to establish this whole regulatory structure, and it's massive today in the West, to protect us from these greedy bastards. And now there's a tension. We want these greedy bastards to make money because we realize that's how our economy grows. But we need to control them, so we need to increase regulations to make sure that they don't lie, steal, and cheat from us. So we get the regulatory state because of morality, and we get the redistribution state because of morality. Morality is the driving force towards statism. Morality is the driving force against capitalism. It's not economics, it's not history, it's not fact.